Hi, and welcome to Jim's Rants. What? Were you expecting more? Come on, don't make me rant about your expectations about my rants. That's just silly. Let's see what I rant about today. I've been in a lot of cover bands. I've been in some original stuff. And I kind of wanted to share some things, or I've found over the years, that have helped me when I'm in a band that's successful or that didn't do so well when I was with a band that was not. Because believe me, we're all in bands that make a little bit of money. We're all in bands that don't do anything. But it's always about our goals. There are some things that a lot of musicians will share with you that you can find all over the internet. And it's the hang, the pay, and the music. Those are the three things. Are they fun people to hang out with? Are you getting paid the amount of money you expect? And is it music you can enjoy? And those are very important things. They're huge things that keep you there. Not everybody who's doing cover music is doing it as a career. Sometimes people are doing it to make a little extra money, to pay for their musical gear. I mean, there's all kinds of reasons. So here's some things that I've found that are important. Here's 8 points that I'd like to go over. Number 1, know the style of music that you want to play going into it. If it's a blues band and you're not a blues musician and you don't like the blues, don't try to pigeon yourself into this kind of thing. It's not going to work out. People aren't going to enjoy it. You're not going to enjoy the work that you do in order to get something out of it. Now, I'm not saying don't find new kinds of music and enjoy those. But if you're already not a blues musician, and these are blues musicians that you're joining up with, or jazz, or classical, or country, or pop, or rock, or metal, insert generic type of music wherever, that style of music, that genre, if it's not your thing, don't try to shoehorn yourself into it. You'll hear a lot of stories about people who are like, oh, I never knew jazz music until... Believe me, they work hard to get there, and they shoehorn themselves into it. Some people it works out. It really does. They're good at being shoehorned. But for the most part, it's not really a great thing to do. Number 2, know whether you want to do covers, originals, or a sprinkling of both. Everybody should know that going in. I can't tell you how many times I've been asked to join a band, and then they're like, we want to do some originals. I'm out. I told you in the beginning, I'm not doing originals. I'm out. And that's not because I think I'm better than your music. I'm not. I just know I have any interest in it whatsoever. I have zero interest in writing songs. And I don't want to learn the way you want me to sing the lyrics you wrote. You sing them. I'm out. Or play solos the way you want me to, or play bass lines the way you want me to. I thought the whole idea of being original was me coming up with it. Too often, you wind up in a Pink Floyd-esque environment. You've got Roger Waters sitting there, do it my way or the highway, and no artistic or creative input from the rest of the band. Okay. Make sure everyone has the same goals. This kind of goes along with the first 2, but that's an added thing. So now you know the kind of music you want to play. You know whether or not you want to have covers or originals. Is it a band that's never going to play out? You're just going to wind up in Bob's basement or Jerry's garage every week? And if it is, make sure it's comfortable, because if you're going in there sweating yourself to death or freezing because they don't know how to air condition or heat a room, you're not going to enjoy yourself. So and your equipment's going to suffer as well, and for nothing, no return. If you feel that you should be able to at least break even, make your gas money, and we're not talking about just gas money to the gig, we're talking about gas money to and from all the rehearsals to get there. Too many times I've seen bands work so hard for that first gig and fall apart because they thought, well, the first gig didn't go well, the whole thing's not going to go well. That expectation is unrealistic, and I don't understand why people have it in the first place. But they do, and we see the response is, well, we just didn't make it. It can take time. It can take time. Now, if you expect to make money from this, then your goal is to actually make money from the gigs, you need to hunker down. And everybody needs to realize this is a job. It is fun, but it is a job. And you need to learn your parts, and you need to come in prepared. This goes for cover bands and originals. I can't tell you how many times I've seen where producers go, bass player wasn't prepared, drummer didn't know the stops and starts, so on and so forth. Then they get mad because they bring somebody else in to replace their parts. Why are you mad? It's a job. You needed to finish the job. And production costs money. Getting out to gigs costs money. Lighting costs money. PAs cost money. Rehearsals cost money. I don't care if you're the person hosting it and all it costs you is the electricity. It's still money. It's still resources. It's still time. It's still energy. It's still emotional energy that gets wasted if everybody isn't working on the same goal. So if you've got somebody that comes in and says, yeah, well, I can make rehearsals, but I don't really want to be there every time you rehearse. So why don't you guys practice without me? No, why don't we not practice at all? Because we're not gelling. Unless it's just a bar band that you don't care. And you don't care what those people think. The problem with a lot of bar bands, and this is where that whole argument of how hard am I supposed to work for $100 at a night, and the truth is that, people are like, well, I used to make that in the 80s. You did. And it would have gone up, except the amount of work has gone down. Every guitar player with an effects pedal and an amplifier thinks that they're good enough for a bar band because they see the last bar band that thought that every guitar player with an effects pedal and an amplifier is good enough. You know what I mean? So now, I'm going to take my glary guitar and I'm going to get up in front of a bunch of people. I'm not going to put any real effort into it. I know it doesn't stay in tune. I know that I don't want to spend the money to do a proper setup. I don't want to buy better pickups. I don't want to do the things it takes to set the volume level where the club wants me. Then have the expectation back that you're going to get what you put into it. So those goals, if it's to make money, then have a goal to make money. But don't be mad when band A gets paid a lot more than you do at the same place. They put more work into it. Just the way it goes. And don't expect it to happen overnight. It's not going to. It takes time. You need to work at it. And that's why having the same goals is important. My next point is avoid alcohol and drugs. Unless you're a shoegazer, stoner band that literally is a 420 stoner band. You're going to get high and you're going to play what you play to get when you get high. Fine. That's what you do. And I'm not placing judgment on you. The fact is that if that's your goal, then get high, get drunk. But don't expect to be paid the way a band that doesn't get high is paid. You show up for work high, you get the kind of work that you can do high. So the unfortunate fact is, unless you're playing to a group of stoners and a group of drunks, then you're not really giving people what they want. And that's a musical experience. If someone is not performing, let them go. I mean, and there's a lot of different ways to look at this one. Some people look at this one like, if I have a certain amount of work that I put into this, and then someone walks up to me and says, "You're out," without any warning. Well, that's kind of douchey. So if someone's not working out and they're not performing to standard, hopefully you've said something. Hey, you're not learning your parts. We are doing this. And that goes for original and cover, by the way, because learning your part means knowing the song. I don't care if it's something you write. Believe it or not, every original band turns into a cover band. Okay? Even people think, oh, the Grateful Dead, no, they were still a cover band of the Grateful Dead. They were the Grateful Dead cover band. The Eagles cover band. I mean, Aerosmith cover band. All that stuff is cover band stuff. So that's the kind of thing that no matter what, you're going to have to wind up knowing the structure of a song. So again, if you're in a band situation and someone is not performing, let them know and say, look, if you can't get your act together by this time, this many rehearsals, this date, this many gigs, whatever, we can't use you anymore. We need to move on. We're going to start looking for someone. And again, this goes back to the fact that unless it's a garage band that's not doing stuff and not expected to go out, that's fine. But the problem is, if you're a band that expects to play out, you need to be prepared. And if a person isn't preparing, you need to let them go. And they didn't need to know it's a job. Sorry, you didn't cut it. You might be my buddy. You might be my friend. You might even be my uncle, my dad, my brother, my cousin, my son, my wife, my daughter. It's still got to let you go. Okay. Stick to your goals. This is a tough one. A lot of bands get lost in it, especially cover bands. Because cover bands, they'll say, oh, well, we're an 80s cover band. Well, that's kind of anything from 1980 to 89. Or can it have been written in 79 and released in 80? I've been in bands where literally, well, the song came out in the end of 79, so that's not really an 80s song. Really? We weren't listening to it on the radio in the 80s? Really? That kind of thing. So that's where you've got to go in the realm of what you want to do. And if it means 80s new wave pop or 80s top 40 radio, and you're still covering such a broad thing, what happens is you can wind up with option paralysis. There's, say, 10,000 great songs from the 80s or whatever. I'm just making a number up. Then how are you going to pick which ones? Go with what everyone sees as a strength. If someone totally hates it, let it go. If someone really likes it and you can live with it, stick it out. Maybe you'll find something good in it. I can't tell you how many songs that I've wound up loving because some other bandmate just stuck to their guns. And I thought, oh, I really got to play this song. Although don't tell me Imagine Dragons is good. I can't stand it. It sucks. But anyway, stick to your goals. Your goals. If things are not going as planned, leave. Don't stay, because all you're doing is biding your time to the day when it comes to a head and you leave in a huff. Instead, just go. Say, look, I appreciate everything we've done together. I appreciate everything you folks have done for this band, but we're done. It's just like any other relationship. Get out. Get out while the getting's good. Go find something that you can enjoy doing. Because otherwise, while you're sitting there, there's a thing in business where you have what we call an opportunity loss. Okay? You lose opportunities by staying where you are. Now, sometimes those are opportunities that wouldn't have worked out. But because you're in the situation you're in, and if you're enjoying it, it's okay to lose those opportunities. But if you're not enjoying it, it's not. Okay? You need to move on. And the last thing that I want to say is have fun. I know that all this sounds like work, and it is. I mean, every week. That's why there's 2 empty guitar hangers behind me, and there's an empty floor because all my stuff is packed up from rehearsal yesterday. I have to unpack it and rehearse it myself tonight just to go back tomorrow and rehearse again because we've got a gig coming Thursday. I'm not one on the 2-day-a-week rehearsal thing ever in any situation. I'm really not happy about it, but sometimes you've got to be about the team. But while I'm there, I try to have fun. I try to laugh. I try to enjoy the people, the music, the whole thing. Because rehearsal, unless you're in a higher level, you're not getting paid for it. I've been in paid rehearsals. Those are nice. But when you're working, you need to realize that at whatever level you're sitting, you should have fun doing that and enjoy it. So those are my 8 points. Again, know the style of music, whether or not you're going to do covers, originals, or both. Make sure everybody has the same goals. Avoid alcohol and drugs unless that's something that is that part of the band. If someone is not performing, let them go. Let them go before they feel like you just wasted their time. Stick to your goals. Leave as planned if things aren't going the way you want. And lastly, have fun. I've been Jim, and I've been your practical guitarist.